Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy. Hey, let's go together. Trust. Hey, that's how you sing here. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. Together. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. When we walk, when we walk, when we walk, there you go. When we walk. I thought you guys are singers, Kumbe you're not. I thought you were singers. Kumbe you are not. Maybe in future you'll do better. Chorus once again. Trust and obey, for there is no... Everyone together. Trust and obey, for there is no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. Why have we done that piece? Because the teacher's already given you the techniques, the requirements for the excellence results in CRE. I believe the teacher, I love your smile, you have a beautiful smile. The teacher has always taught you, and I know you have various teachers and hardworking teachers, gifted teachers, and that's what gave you position 2 only to Apostolic Camel in the entire Makadara. That is marvelous results. And you can just confirm in KCSE. And therefore, now that you've been given the instructions, you've been given what is expected from you, and you've even already done well before, it can only get better if you trust what the teacher has given you. And that's why we did sing that song or that piece. I believe in you have listened to you guys speak. Most of you ask questions, and I realize most of you are gifted even in the spoken language. So you're not just good in the written one, but you're equally good in the spoken one. Again, this school is equally a powerhouse, not only in academics, but also in co-curricular. Our friend was the winner in 200 meters in the whole Makadara, and as well as number 2. Was it number 2 in the entire Nairobi region? I'm not so sure, but she still reigned supreme in 200 meters. So I believe in the saints of Anne. I'm getting back to what we believe in self-belief. Sometime back, some religious leaders, be attentive. There are 4 basics of understanding. Number 1, the first thing is listen. And when you are listening for you to gain, you have to be 100% alert. 100%. After listening, by being keen, by taking crucial notes or short notes, number 2, you have to comprehend. In some situations, we'll say you have to comprehend or memorize. Then number 3, you practice. After practicing by answering questions using the past papers, using the topic questions, then later on in your group discussions, you can go teach other people. And as you teach in your respective groups, you enhance your memory. And as a result, you can still recreate that in your papers. So I beg you, ensure that you observe the 4 elements of learning. Number 1 is listen. Number 2 is comprehend or memorize. Number 3 is practice. Most of you, you've been taught this, but you'll go keep these notes. You are not going to try to answer the questions, and as a result, the learning is going to end here. But if you go ahead and discuss in your respective groups, if you go ahead and even do sample questions in the past papers or in the mock papers, you are going to get better. And again, if you teach and you see, you gain more than 50% when you discuss in effective group discussion. So I beg you, ensure that you are in serious groups between 4 to 6 and go through these questions. And I believe you will not just be scoring a mean of 8 in theory, but you'll move to 10. You'll not just perform well in theory, but you'll also do well in other subjects. My friends, you are privileged to have a whole month to go. For a long time, I believed that I couldn't do well in mathematics. I didn't know that I could still perform well. Be attentive, because this is very crucial for you. I can see some people talking. I'm very keen. De Leon, please minimize speaking. I want you to be very keen. I want you to be very keen and listen to me. Of course, some of you I know personally. De Leon was in our academy some time back in primary. So be keen so that you grasp all that we are talking about. For a long time, I believed that I couldn't do chemistry practical. That is paper 3. And the problem was not the molarity or calculation of moles, but my fear was titration. Whenever I saw that, I felt that it was too technical for me, because I was so comfortable with the humanities and languages. But when it comes to practical, it was hell for me. Until some few hours to our chemistry practical, when our teacher of chemistry, whom we had nicknamed Vanda, based on the forces of Van der Waals forces, came to show us how the practical will look like tomorrow. And he told us that you don't have to do titration. You can just come up with figures. Once you've been told that the figures will be around this, just use those figures. The only thing you'll miss is the marks for accuracy. And then he showed us how to calculate the molarity and the mole concept and the rest. And for that evening, everything changed. Chemistry practical became so easy. Remember, in mock, and by then we were doing the entire sub-county, not the way it's being done here. They were even being marked externally. And when I saw him do that, it became so easy for me. In mock, I had 14 out of 40. And you see, chemistry practical is added directly. From 14, I scored a D+ in chemistry. That is mock. And in KCSE, from a D+ with 14 out of 40, in paper 3, I scored 28, most likely, because from a D+, I moved to a B- in chemistry. And you see, when I was struggling with the chemistry and maths, because it is all in the mind, English, I was the top in that school. Business studies, I reigned supreme. In history, I was super good. But I'd convinced myself that I wasn't meant for chemistry and maths. Even right now, I know there's some of you who believe that it is technical. Some of you believe that theory is so easy, so that you don't need to revise. And as a result, a subject that you could have scored an A, you are going to score a C+ because of your attitude or perception that is cheap and you don't need to discuss. Bearing in mind that this time, as compared to before, the grading is completely different. Your best will be used. For example, maths will be taken automatically, whether it will be a D, a D-, an A B will be picked. Then your best language will equally be picked. If your English will be a B, Kiswahili is a C+. First, they'll go with the B in English. Then this Kiswahili that is a C+ or a B-, if it is better than chemistry, If it is better than CRE, it will be used in place of chem. It will be used in place of bio. Remember, I'm talking about last year, and I believe that is not going to change. Even according to the grading in the mock you did, it's still the same. What am I saying in simple terms? Don't ignore any subject, because that language, that theory, that humanity might be used to replace another subject. Let me hope you are getting me. But what I'm talking about is your attitude towards this subject. The main reason why I didn't score well previously is because I didn't believe that I could handle chemistry. The problem was belief. Imagine if I'd believed earlier on, I could have scored an A. You guys, you have more than a month. If you decide today, whichever subject, you can get the grade you want to get. Sometime back, I was equally privileged to have 2 computers in college. I served in student leadership in KU for 2.5 years. And in my office, it was big enough. One side for my secretary, who was equally privileged to have her computer. I also had mine in my office. But inside that place, I was seated with that computer, but I could not touch the mouse, because in my mind, I believe I didn't know how to handle that computer. My friend known as Geoffrey Miogo, I used to call him Miguna, because by then Miguna was personal assistant to Raila. So I used to call Jeff as Miguna. Could come and sit in my seat and use that computer on numerous occasions. But as the chair of that campus at that particular time, I couldn't use my own computer, which I was given for free. But at that particular time, when I touched that mouse, I realized it was so easy. I sensed that I could even go to Facebook and interact with people. And since then, when it was just some few days to the elapse of my time in KU in student leadership, I learned how to use that computer. And since then, I've empowered several people using the same computer I once feared. Please minimize fear, believe in yourself, and go for the best. Finally, focusing on the fear and belief. Sometime back, some people were invited, religious leaders were invited for a function, and they were told that you are going to have sumptuous meals, delicious meals, so don't take anything as you come for that overnight party. These religious leaders went for that party. They ate, they started eating, they were prepared for chicken as well as meat, nice, delicious ones. They kept eating, but one started complaining that although the meat is delicious, it is a little bit hard. We needed something soft, but if you could serve it with soup, it will be good. The host decided to wave so that the servers could see, and when he drew their attention, he told them that, you know what, how comes you didn't serve us the soup? And in a short while, they brought bowls of soup in around 5. And just before they were served, a given chef came and told them, please do not serve that yet. Why? Because instead of placing salt, it was a poison that was put. So this one is likely to affect you. By that time, some of the religious leaders had already served their meals with huge chunks of chicken and meat, and then the soup, they'd already poured soup on top of the meal. Some were almost gulping. Imagine you've already served a nice meal with that soup, and then someone is telling you, it's likely that it's having poison, don't take it. Then later on, one of the clerics came up with a beautiful idea that why can't we use a dog to ascertain that it is true that there was what? There was poison in this. But a boy said that, you know what? Please, we can't use dog because I value the lives of dogs. Then another cleric said, we didn't come to this place to listen to the boy's talk. Later on, they insisted and used this dog to ascertain that is it true that this food was poison. So they gave this dog soup. And then they agreed, we'll give it around 30 minutes and check if the dog will die or not. And then they did so. Then someone went and checked. The dog was fully satisfied. The stomach had bloated with delicious meals. And then later on again, they decided, let's give it another 1 hour so that we see. Still, after 1 hour, the dog was still satisfied, resting there. Then later on, they came back and told them, do you know what? Let's continue with our celebration. And the party continued. Later on, after they had served and enjoyed themselves, another young man came and said, you know what? Came to the father. The young girl came and told Dad, you know what? The dog is dead. Everyone started struggling for water, which was around, so that they could consume to do away with the poison. Everywhere, water was strewn all over until it couldn't get enough. The father of the host had to faint. And later on, several ambulances came to come and fetch these people. Some of them were in the ambulances already having their drip, being ferried to various hospitals. Some, they sensed that they were too bloated, such that the intestines were almost coming out, and therefore they couldn't be treated around there. So they were to be taken far away from those places for better medical attention. Later on, towards the end, the young girl came back again to the father when the father is just getting back to his senses and told the father, you know what, Dad? The dog that died was hit by a car. So it wasn't the poison that had killed the dog. And later on, the clerics, the pastors who were almost dying, who were on drip, became alert and alive. Later on, one who had already known, who had heard the news of what had killed the dog, told the doctor, you see what, mister, please do away with this drip and all these gadgets which are in my body. Do you know what? Despite being spiritual and believe that they were heavenly, what killed the pastors were here mental. They believed that that was dying. However, there are several people who have been positive and they've lived for over 30 years, over 35 years. Some have managed to overcome cancer because they believe that it can't hit them. Just like the exams you are going to do. If you believe in yourself, you see the moral lesson of the story I've just given is that the pastors never believed in themselves. Number two, the father only received the news that the dog was hit. Incompleteness of the news. If he had received that it was killed by a car, they couldn't have gone in that. So please, believe in yourself. Give it your best. Discuss in your respective groups. Consult widely. Do more practice. And I believe that you are going to score the very best. You've signaled me that is almost, but as I summarize, you did mention something to do with collaboration. Please, as you go discuss with the neighbors, don't concentrate on their weaknesses, but concentrate on their strengths. You are the best that God ever created. You are created not just to exist among the number. You are created to be the best, and you are going to score the best if you work consistently until the final day. I believe in all of you, and I wish you the very best.
Okay.
Asante sana. Nice. Nice.
So now, I don't know what to then say.